Most people doubt themselves. Most people have tried and then they've tried so hard that they give up.
If 100 people watch this podcast and if we have 2 people who are willing to contribute to the society in a positive way, this podcast would have been a success. Well, Christianity is here since 2000 years. Hinduism is there since 10,000 years. And Islam is rising since 1,500 years. Absolutely, warriors.
Yeah,
I remember you saying the same. We do it because it's tough. We do it because it's difficult.
Of course.
If it was easy, we wouldn't do it. And that's exactly what you said in our text message. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
Is God real? In this world of degeneracy, OnlyFans, and all of this corn going around, you'll be mediocre. You can just be a feather in the wind and just live your life, die one day. And you can turn off this podcast because you probably won't be interested in the topics that we are discussing. But if you're truly someone who wants to change, you will continue listening. Welcome to our podcast. This is podcast number 1 with SDK. If you're new here, I am an e-commerce entrepreneur. I have started multiple businesses and scaled them to more than $250,000. And apart from all my professional success, the biggest achievement that I consider in myself is gifting my parents a brand new car when I was 23 years old. I would like to start this podcast off with a very special guest. He is one of the most inspirational people I've ever met. It's honestly unreal how motivating he is. I haven't met people like him. It's very rare to meet people like Connor Smart.
Hello, bro.
How's it going?
It's a pleasure, man. I'm happy to be here.
Lovely.
Always. What a pleasure.
Connor is an inspirational speaker and he impacted so many lives that he is not aware. And I'm just one of them. I'm honestly very grateful. Since the time we have met, and I want to talk about it, how we met, and we'll talk about a lot more, and we'll talk about the core values in our lives, we'll talk about politics, we'll talk about wokeism, we'll talk about a lot of different subjects. But let's start off with how we met.
Thank you so much, bro. It's a blessing to be here, man. You know my motto that I live by, and I'd love to share with your audience today, is that we are too blessed to be stressed. People always looking at me thinking, yo, why is this guy? He's always happy, he's always positive, he's always up and down. I mean, I am 99.9% of the time. I mean, I'm human like everybody else. I have my ups and downs, I have my challenges, but I don't let them define me. I don't let them get the better of me, and I do not dwell in my challenges. I have the power of my mind now to be able to just brush it off my shoulder like it's nothing and move on to the solution of whatever that may be in whatever I'm facing in my life. But yes, bro, I'm very happy to be here. I'm a man on a mission just like you, to inspire, to have an impact on the world, to change lives, to show that doesn't matter where you have been in your life, that you can really make a change. You can change it all around. Even if you're in complete darkness, you can get out and see the light. And I'm a living proof, because I never thought I'd be here. Just being in this place that we're at right now, it's just like a dream become reality for me. Coming from a place of nothing and being able to come here. I'm sure we're going to go into the story a little bit more as we move forward. But this podcast today, we've got a good few topics that we're going to cover, and I'm looking forward to cover these topics with you, man.
Me too. I want to know your thoughts, your opinions. I already kind of know them because we are on the same wavelength. Would you like to talk about how we met?
Yeah, sure.
I think that's going to be a good story for our audience.
Sure. So how me and this cool dude, Mr. Shivank over here, I call him the man of gratitude. I've never met a guy like this guy that has so much gratitude in him that he expels it everywhere. Every time we finish the gym, every time that we finish spending some well-invested time together, whether it's running, going, out and doing some kind of activity that, we're going to benefit one another and, push each other to reach our goals. We're very blessed to be around each other. But he always messages me like, thank you, man. It was a pleasure spending this time with you, and I'm happy that I did. And likewise, I say the same to him. But not everybody makes that effort of appreciation. And that's why I call him the man of gratitude. But how we met, getting to the point, is in an apartment block. Literally just, if you look out that window, it's the tall building that you can first see as you look down that long road that leads into the city of Montreal. It's called Dorchester Apartments. In there, he was visiting a friend. I was actually at my friend's at the time, and we was playing a game of like American pool. And we ended up having this game of pool, had a good time, we got on well, and we actually exchanged some information on the Instagram, but we didn't think much more of it. I mean, we said we wanted to connect, but we busy lives, doing our own thing, the rest of it. So anyways, that was the first time we ever met. Now, at least 3 months go past, we've not really spoken to each other, we're just doing our thing, living our life like you do. Then all of a sudden, I was in this supermarket called Bulk Barn, and he was just literally finishing the gym. I was just literally finishing my workout. I was like, hey man, I was like, what a surprise, it's great to see you again. He was like, yeah, what's going on, Connor? We shook his hand. And then he was like, oh yeah, I've just finished my workout. I was like, yeah, me too, man. I said, maybe sometime we should go and work out. And this was the start of this wonderful friendship that we have now, where we're able to have the possibility to be able to even come on this podcast, and I have the blessing to be a part of the birth of that, the SDK podcast. So I'm so grateful. And this was the beginning of the wonderful friendship that we have now. This is how we met.
That was pretty well summed up. From my POV, like Connor said, we met at Bulk Barn. It's a Canadian wholesaler grocery store. He was looking super sharp. He was looking like a man of respect, and I just felt it. I feel like when a wolf meets another wolf with the alpha mindset, they can sense that, and I sensed it. And with God's blessing, we happened to cross paths at Bulk Barn, and we connected. We started working out. We run all the way to Montreal and come back down. So yeah, and by the way, we are in Montreal, and behind us is the downtown Montreal. It overlooks all of the buildings, and there is one mountain called Mount Royal, where the city was founded in. That's just a bit of context for our audience who are not from Montreal.
Yeah, sure, it's a beautiful place.
Yeah, so that's how Connor and I met. The purpose behind this podcast is, if 100 people watch this podcast, and if we have 2 people who are willing to contribute to the society in a positive way, this podcast would have been a success. We're not doing this podcast to monetize it, to make more money, to make 6 figures, 7 figures, 8 figures, brand deals, etc. That's not the intention. The intention is to hopefully inspire and find people who can contribute to our society in a positive way. And this is a really important point. I have always spoken about this. This is the first time I'm doing it on the podcast, on camera. I have this concept called consumers and producers. Producers are creators or contributors. They go by many names. So the producers are the 2 or 3% in the world, and the rest 97% are consumers. They consume everything. And guess what? The billionaires, the majority of the wealth is with the 3%. People who produce. It could be a product, it could be a service, it could be content, it could be anything. And the side where you would want to be, ideally, is towards the producer's side, where you're producing value to the society. That's the concept that I always had in my mind, and I wanted to share it with you. So what do you think about it?
Oh, it's a great question, man. I believe that in the world that we're living in, unfortunately, a lot of people are almost like sheep. They're just following the herd. They don't think for themselves. They're influenced by everybody around them. But the 3% that are different to the 97% are those that create the life that they want and what they desire.
The 3%.
Now, most people are not aware that the 97% of the way people think is mediocre. Right? It's not saying that, that they're worse than anybody else, but mediocre meaning that it's limited. It's the way that people think. You got to think differently. The way that I think, the way that you think is that anything is possible. Right? Especially if somebody's already done it. Most people doubt themselves. Most people have tried and then they've tried so hard that they give up and they lose hope. What I believe is that everything that you see around you, from this table to the glasses to this watch to this suit to these wonderful microphones, to the building that we're living in, somebody had the thought before it was a reality.
Wow. Yeah.
Somebody had the thought before it was reality. Everything that we see.
Also this podcast.
Even the podcast, exactly.
Just a thought.
Somebody had the idea. This podcast was not around the way that it is now 100, 200 years ago. You probably just had a conversation with a guy probably writing some notes on some feather ink pen with some paper, and that was his podcast, and someone's going to read it. We'd probably call that a book or some kind of blog that was written or something. But now, look, someone made this telephone that's taken this high quality video.
Yeah.
That was made by a human being, some man like you or like me, but somebody that had the imagination to see it. This is the 3% that we're talking about. That is even like the 1%, creating something that never even existed, like electricity, light bulbs. Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison was the guy that created the first fluorescent light bulb. Before that, we used to use torches and flames. That's how they used to be. But now look at the world and generation that we live in. iPhones, you can FaceTime your family, your loved ones. A different place in the world. If you was talking about this even 100 years ago, mine and your grandparents, they never see it. They just about had black and white TVs. So just think how much the world's changed in 100 years, and that's from a human being that is not part of the 97%. Anybody can achieve anything they believe, but it's whatever their mind, as Napoleon Hill says, whatever their mind can conceive and believe, their mind can achieve. So that's the kind of mindset that I believe in, and I believe that yourself, to being able to buy your mum and dad that kind of car and reach that level of success, you have to believe in yourself. You have to be able to persevere, and we're going to go into some principles of success at a later point for sure.
Absolutely.
But man, that's my long answer to this 97% of the reality of people, and the 3% that are different.
It reminds me of Peter Thiel's 0 to 1. Like you said, out of that 3%, the 1% are the ones that create, which was never thought of, like electricity, like Thomas Edison, the example which you gave. It reminds me of Peter Thiel's book, 0 to 1. He talks about the same. Highly suggested book. If you haven't read Peter Thiel's 0 to 1, please check it out. If not, there'll be a link in the description. You can go buy the book from Amazon.ca or .com, wherever you live. Connor's perspective is always the alpha mind. It's unique, it's different, it's people that want to do things. Anyways, before we move on, get into the podcast and get on the heavy topics, I would like to thank you in the form of a gift. And Connor will, if he's kind enough, he will explain what this gift is about once he gets it.
Okay.
And we have a gift for Connor. It is
oh my God, no
the
way.
hand soap. This is not a regular hand soap.
No way. Oh, bro, this I wasn't expecting this. That's insane.
Would you like to explain this to our
funny guy.
audience?
Bro.
And this is for you. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you, bro. Yo, I appreciate
You
you,
can keep
man.
this in the
Yo.
apartment.
This right here,
You want to smell it? Yeah.
I'm gonna smell it because
Legend?
when we started training in the gym together, when we washed our hands, there's this funny soap that we used, and it smells of candy. It smells so good, so sweet. I don't even eat candy anymore for health reasons, and I've gone off of that kind of food. But the smell of it, I love it. I was like, yo, I love the smell. This is the best hand soap I've ever used in my life. And Shivank actually said, man, I'm going to get you some of this sometime. He said, I'm going to get you some. I said, man, I appreciate you, bro. I said, it's all good, I don't really use the hand wash, here often. So it's all good. So I didn't think much of it. And I'm surprised to get this, but I love it, bro. Thank you, man. Yo, he listened attentively well for that, bro. Thank you.
No problem. Well, moving on, we, spoke about the purpose of this podcast, and this is podcast number 1 with SDK. There'll be lots more coming forth this year. I want to continue the topic of purpose, from the podcast, why we're doing this, to our own lives, to the lives of the audience, and also in the gym, in those hardest moments. For example, today morning, we ran all the way up to Mount Royal Chalet. It is a 150-meter elevation. It is a 3-kilometer run with 150-meter elevation. And a few of you may not get this, but it's extremely difficult. The angle is about 40 degrees, and you got to run all the way up to the mountain. And we do this every week, and it's obviously probably a bit harder for me than Connor. Connor is like a Tesla. He just runs all the way to the top. And I fight in my mind. My mind tells me, take a break. It's fine. Just walk. Why don't you just walk instead of running, And you got to have a purpose, and you think of that purpose. And that pushes you forward in the hardest times. Just an example of the run. But even in the gym, while lifting that 8 rep, and you're making that gym face, you're bringing the gym face, and the 9th rep, 10th rep, you're going for the last one till failure. What's the purpose? What's the purpose in life? And it could be different for each of us. It could be different for you. It could be different for Connor. It could be different for me. So I just want to talk about it. What is your purpose in life? How do you propel yourself forward in the hardest times?
The purpose does play a massive part into perseverance and following through during challenging times, in your success path or journey, even just the everyday life. And I'm so grateful to God that I have a purpose, a God-given purpose, I do believe. And that number one purpose for me is to be able to provide for my family. Also as well, make a difference in the world with people that are struggling. My purpose as well, the one that makes me burn and fires me up, motivation when I maybe haven't slept for, a good sleep in maybe 4 or 5 days, living off of 3-4 hours sleep every night, because there's people out there in the world that have bombs dropping on their head every day. They're in a war zone. They don't even have food every day. There's people that don't even have a hospital to go to when they're sick. But guess what? We do. Majority of us do, in Canada or in the UK or anywhere where there provides healthcare. And even if, for example, in the US you have to pay for your healthcare, you still have the option there. Some places in the world, they don't even have the option. So for me, I need to help those people that are in need. I feel like it's an obligation for me. As a godly man, it's to love our neighbor, to be able to have compassion for others and to make a difference. And I think the true joy in life is when you help someone.
Yeah.
It says in the
Philanthropy.
Philanthropy. You know, without going too much into the Bible, as I'm not a pastor or anything, but it says there's more happiness in giving in what there is in receiving, and this is something that I really do believe is a truth. And the fact is, we all can give, and we can all make a difference. It's all about the start of doing things small and having the vision and having that purpose. So this is what propels me. When I feel tired and when things are going the wrong way, when things are not working out, that's what I think about. Because in life, it's always going to be like that. It's never going to happen the way you want it to happen,
Absolutely
when you want
not.
it to happen.
Absolutely not.
Sometimes
Never.
it will, but most of the time it won't. You know, most of the time it won't.
Yeah.
And when it doesn't, that's when you need to have this purpose. Why am I doing this? I'm doing this because my family
To provide your family,
To provide-
number one, to inspire other people, number two.
Exactly.
Number three
my
would
future
be,
family, and to be the best father that I can possibly be.
Yeah.
I'm going to be something more than my father ever was. To be the best dad that I can be.
That's really good. But what do you think in the gym when you're going to the last rep and when you're going until failure? What do you think for the last thing?
The last thing,
what are you thinking? Are you thinking of the purpose, or are you just thinking of just pushing it?
when I'm in the gym is a different thing. I mean, my general life purpose, this is what I was thinking. But in the gym, the purpose and what's on my mind when I'm doing what gets me them last 3 reps in is that I need to push it. I am a master of my mind. When my body's telling me no, my mind is telling me yes. And I'm going to make him do what I want him to do until he physically can't do it. And with that kind of mindset, you develop this wolf alpha mentality, you know, that we know it to be. This wolf mentality that we can have. This is how it's created. It's forcing yourself to do the things that you're uncomfortable with doing until it becomes natural. Now you embrace it. That hurts. And then you're like, poof.
Yeah.
You just continue pushing it.
Absolutely.
And then
Warriors. I
is
remember
it.
you saying the same. We do it because it's tough. We do it because it's difficult.
Of course.
If it was easy, we wouldn't do it. And that's exactly what you said in our text message. I don't know if you remember that.
So that's the way I operate when it comes to the gym, and it's all about you have to condition your mind. You have to do everything that you're doing in your life. Everything from the conversations that you have with people, with strangers, the way you carry yourself, everything matters. And you need to be able to strengthen your mind in this aspect when you go to the gym by pushing that extra rep, because that's what's going to push you to the next level. You only improve and get better when you go the extra mile. It's the only time you really get that next level. You level up by doing something more. You never get to the next level by doing really less, unless you're doing something that's more smarter. You heard the expression, work smart, not hard.
Yeah,
right?
I have.
But you're still doing more. You're working more smarter. You're always doing more something. If you want more, you've got to do more. You've got to be more. I mean, if you want more results in the gym, you've got to do more. And you want more discipline, you need to push more.
And all those aspects can be applied to life, to business.
Everything.
Consistency, discipline. Everything from the gym can be extrapolated to life. And one more good thing about you that I appreciate is that you give 100%, let's say 110% effort every single time. Every single time you work out, and I truly appreciate it. And like you say, you can never be too thankful. You can never be too grateful.
For sure.
And that's the reason I always thank you for doing this with me. And I'm like, so let's start talking about our core values in life. We have a set of topics, decided. Number one is core values in our life. We'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about confidence, ego, what is good ego, what is bad ego, in the next few minutes. So let's start off with the reason why Connor and I gel or align well together is because we have a set of core values or morals in our life, and they align together really well. They are the same. And that's the reason Connor and I gel together, if that makes sense. So I personally think having core values for everyone, it's really important. If you don't have them, I would highly encourage you, sit down, calm your freaking mind, practice mindfulness for 3 to 5 minutes, take down a paper or take down your iPad, take down your laptop, whatever it is, open the notepad and write 3 to 5 core values in your life. It could be respect everyone, no matter what. Number 2, it could be stay disciplined. Number 3, it could be always keep God in your mind. So it could be anything. Just note it down. And I have done it myself this year, and I think Connor has them in his mind as well.
Oh my God.
About core values, and also I just want to address this as well. A lot of people, there's this ridiculous rumor or ridiculous content that's been circulated around the internet about if God is real. People are questioning the existence of God. If you think evil, if you think devil, if you think Satan is real, then all forces must have equal and opposite force, according to Newton, right? And where there is evil, there must be good. And according to that logic or sense, we can say God exists. But there's also another argument which I can put forth. Humans have worshipped a deity. Well, Christianity is here since 2,000 years. Hinduism is there since 10,000 years. And Islam is rising since 1,500 years. But humans have always worshipped a higher being since thousands of years. So millions of people cannot be out of their minds to worship a higher being. That's my stance on it. God is real. So that's like almost a stupid question, if I might say, to put forth. But I would love to hear your thoughts on this core values and also with God. What do you think? I want to ask you, is God real?
Well, everybody's going to have their own opinion, and I respect everybody's opinion. I respect everybody because I understand them. They're living in a world that
you got to respect everyone, but does everyone deserve your respect?
It's a great question. Well, this is where core values come into it.
Absolutely.
And mindset and personality. And for me, I got love for everybody, regardless to
even
who
for
it
Satan?
Is. Well, there we go. That's a smart question. Other than Satan and anybody that is against God and good.
Even for Doja Cat, even for Lil Nas X, who twerk and promote Satanism. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah,
people listen to these rappers, these artists who are supposed to be responsible on what they say, but they promote Satanism. But sorry, go on.
No, you're good. So for me, do I think God is real? In my opinion, and to my conviction, and to my experience, should I say, God is 100% real. I was born an atheist. My whole family's atheist.
I didn't know that.
And
wow.
Everybody's atheist. And what it is that I don't care whoever it is, what culture, what religion, everybody, even people watching this video today, has once before prayed to God. When times were tough, I don't know about you, but I didn't believe in God, but when I was going through pain, when I was going through suffering, when things were not going my way in my life, and I was really even suicidal at one point, I was down on my hands and my knees crying to God, saying, please, if there's a God, help me. I need your help. And guess what happened? Nothing. Well, that's what I thought.
I was
back
about
then.
to say we are here.
I know, right?
We are here doing this.
I know, it shocks people like
Okay.
this answer, but guess what? There's more to it.
Uh-huh.
At the time, nothing happened to what I thought. Yeah, really, I never thought there'd be a way out, but God made the way. And the reason why I say He's real is because my life changed because of God. Nobody sold me on the idea. Nobody said, oh, listen, you need to come to church, or you want to believe in God, or, yeah, trying to sell me on the idea. God brought me to Him, and then I just got closer to Him, learning about Him through the Bible. That's what I read, and God is real. That's the right thing to say. God is real, and it's evident He is. And you've got examples in your life. I have in my life. I mean, I was a drug addict. I was depressed. I was lost. I was suicidal. I was really down and out in my life, and never thought there would really be a clear way until God come into my life and changed the whole game. And now I'm just a man of pure happiness, joy, positivity, as you know. Values make you who you are.
Absolutely.
Values is what do you believe about yourself and about the world around you. What's good, what's bad, and what kind of behavior is correct, what's not.
You must have these core set of values or morals, whether you're 20 years old, 19 or 25 or 30.
Everybody.
In this world of degeneracy, OnlyFans, and all of this corn going around, you'll be mediocre. You can just be a feather in the wind and just live your life, die one day. And you can turn off this podcast because you probably won't be interested in the topics that we are discussing. But if you're truly someone who wants to change, you will continue listening.
100%.
I'm just plugging in the podcast.
This is just the bit.
Yeah.
This is just the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Tell me more about your core values and how it operates in your culture. What matters to you, and what does it look like? Just a few things of the qualities.
In Hinduism is the oldest religion we know. It dates back to at least 8,000 years old. It predates everything we know. Hinduism is not. It does not have like a set of rules. It does not have like a set of book that you got to read this or do that and then you're a Hindu. Hinduism is the way of life. Preaches you things. There are a few books called Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita, where you can read that and understand and extrapolate some ideas, some values out of it and apply that to your own life. But Hinduism is a way of life. It's the way you live. If you're living in a respectful, grateful, and contributing back to society, that's Hinduism. And it's worshipping. We have thousands of gods in Hinduism. I don't know if you know this, Connor.
I've heard about it.
In Hinduism, we don't have like, for Islam, it's Muhammad, it's Christianity, it's Jesus. Hinduism is not like one God. It's thousands of gods. And every single region, every single locality, every single zip code in India has its own deity. All those roots go back so far behind in history, you can't even date it. Like there is no way to say it's 8,000, 10,000 years old. And so again, when it comes to core values, I have a set of them. I have listed them this year and have been practicing that every single day. One of them is gratefulness. My dad used to say, I'm super ungrateful. I'm not thankful for things that he provides. And I wanted to change it around. I wanted to flip that 180.
Wow.
And I want to flip that 180. And now I just say thank you to Connor for every time we do a gym session together, every time we kill it in the gym, like the beasts that we are. Super grateful for that. Practice gratefulness every day. Before going to bed, think of 3 things that you're grateful for the day. Think about it and sleep. So that's the way I practice gratefulness. Apart from sending thank you messages to you, I recite 3 things in my mind. And And on a few of the days, I say I'm thankful for a friend like Connor.
Nice.
And yeah, so that leads the faith, the self-belief. And by the way, we're not trying to preach, we're not trying to force any religion on you. It's your own free
We're just
will.
talking about
We're
our
just
values.
talking about our own experiences in this podcast. And the faith, the self-belief that we have in our life, that leads to confidence. And that's what I truly think, and I know that. If you have this core set of values, it leads to unmatched confidence. Any woman will feel it. Your dream crush or woman, anyone you have in mind, she will feel it when you're going on a date, or when you're spending time with your loved ones, with your family. It could be anyone. They feel your confidence when you have clarity of thought, clarity of your mind. Also one important point I would like to mention is, don't be overconfident. Having confidence, there's also, a fine line between delusional, where you could be delusional and say, I'm going to make 10 million next year.
Yeah.
I'm going to make 100 million next month. That's delusional, and that's going to cause negative effect on you. I would definitely not recommend being delusional, but be confident. So there's that fine line saying, just be confident, don't be overconfident and delusional. So that's the point I wanted to put out. Also, the confidence leads up to one more point, which I've written a blog on this. I have written articles on this. You can find my blog on www.shivank.com. That is SHIVANK, D as in Denmark, K as in kilo.com. I've written a blog on how to avoid using filler words. Have you heard of filler words? Like, and it just fills up the conversation without adding any value. So the filler words and how to avoid it. I feel like 90% of the people do that. And sometimes, very rarely, I do it as well. It's not 100% eliminated. But most of the time, I know what I'm speaking, and I do not use filler words as often I used to. I feel like having that good articulation of speech is really important. And that, again, leads to confidence. So everything we're talking here, from religion, core values and beliefs, and that leads to confidence, that leads to clarity of thought, that leads to not using filler words, and that leads to impressing your date or whatever you're doing in life. So all of this is like a train of thought, it's a sequence. If you start one thing, it kind of, goes to the next and the next and the next, and you start to become better and better and better. There is no limit here.
Yeah, the filler words is something that is a good improvement to your communication skills. For sure. Personally, again, just my opinion, it wouldn't be something that's going to hinder your success. And in your values, I mean, in the values topic at the moment, you see.
So I mean, Connor and myself, we're not perfect in any way. We use filler words. So I mean, Connor and myself, we're not perfect in any way. We use filler words, but definitely not as much as the average person. Because I used to count this in my office. I used to do this. I'm not joking. I used to listen to my colleagues and count the number of times they use and it was, of course, it's a lot. It was more than 10. It was more than 20 in like a 2-minute in a 5-minute conversation. And just don't use filler words. And like you said, it does not hinder your success,
but it does improve your communication skills.
It does improve your communication skills, and you stand out. From the crowd.
It's different.
Good ego and bad ego. I have heard this throughout my childhood, growing up. Even now, you have ego. You have an attitude. People tell that to me, and I think it's true. I do have an attitude. I do have an ego, And I sincerely believe that it's good ego. Any person that needs, unlike the filler words, the prerequisite for success in life is you need to have a good ego. You need to have an attitude. You need to think that you are the man. You need to think that you will make it happen. You need to think that you will take action. And I think good ego is something that always improves and helps you grow as a person. On the other hand, bad ego, I don't want to eat up my words. So bad ego is destructive to your mindset and hinders your growth. Let me give an example to make this a little more clear. Bad ego is something like, who are you to tell me? If you give a person criticism, they'll say, who are you to tell me? I'm going to do whatever I want, stuff like that. So that's kind of bad ego, where they don't want to improve.
Funny attitude.
It's like a funny attitude, something like that. And good ego is something like, I will do it, and you're looking life at a more positive way. You take criticism, you try to improve. So that's kind of the good ego, and I hope that's clear. I just want to say this: I am egoistic. And I think it's good. It's a good ego. I think Connor also has good ego. Otherwise, there's no freaking way that he will inspire millions of people. You want to inspire millions of people. You want to be in the center of the stage with 10,000 people, and you'll give them an inspirational speech, and every single one of them is crying. And that will change their lives. And you believe that. That is good ego. And you must have that.
I see that as well. The good ego, as you described, is someone that believes in themselves.
Yeah.
That believes in themselves. That, some people think, oh, this guy's too confident. But no. This is the good ego that you're talking about. My understanding is that you're confident in what you're doing, and you have full conviction that you're going to achieve whatever it is that you want in your life.
It's also threatening to some people. It's also threatening to mediocre slaves. Let's call them slaves, through a lack of term. And one of my companies that I worked for, it was filled with sheep. It was filled with mediocre people. And what happens when an alpha wolf walks in with good ego? Everyone was shook. Everyone's like, I don't like that guy. And they feel threatened. That's what I sincerely think. And I don't want to act like I'm bragging and stuff like that, but that's what happened to me, and that's the reason my employment got terminated from one of my companies. I don't want to name the company. I think Connor knows this.
That's fine.
But we'll get back to that in our, in the later topics about career and e-commerce. Connor has a lot of experience in e-commerce, and I want our audience to gain some value out of e-commerce and paid ads. We have a lot more to talk about. Also, the inspiration, diet, slave mind, politics, current topics, and we'll be talking a lot more right after this break.